Thank you very much. George Zania.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Happy to be here today. I just wanted to say to start that I did get to speak with Rep. McKiernan before, and he said he was amenable to some of the amendments that we've heard about, like the DBR language being restored and strengthening some of the health and safety issues that we continue to have. So, in listening to the testimony, I want to say that, obviously medicinal marijuana is legal, that the current compassion centers are doing a good job within their markets, but they're not state-run entities, and they have no rights for an expectation of a protection as a monopoly. That being said, I think Rep. Almeida has hit on something in that what we have, to a large degree, is a tale of two cities. We have folks who can't afford medicinal marijuana because it may be out of their reach and they may go to the black market. We have folks who live in the outer communities who may not have access to a close-by facility to get it legally. And I'm sure many of you have experienced loved ones who have been dealing with a debilitating illness or even the demise of a life, and you may be the sole caregiver, or you may have limited resources caring for those people, and time matters. Those people should have an option, like everybody else, to have access to medicinal marijuana. We're talking about a cash product because it's not covered by insurance. What can you do to help make the price lower, to make it accessible to somebody who may not have access to that money to buy that medicine? You can create competition. Competition lowers the price. You can create increased access. One of the other things that we heard earlier is variety. You can't lose sight of the importance of variety. Not all strains of cannabis help all diseases. If you have MS, or if you have cancer, or if you have glaucoma, you may have a need for a different strain or a different variety. Introducing additional players to the market and giving your constituents the ability to access that product in an affordable, safe manner is something that I think that the whole state is for, and I think that that was the intent of the original language, the original bill. Now, is it perfect? No. It's not perfect. We know there are holes in the current medical marijuana statute. I think Representative McKiernan's bill is an opportunity to make some of those corrections. Now, and that includes in improving how we deal with the health and the safety issues of testing and labeling that are coming out in some of the regs but are not codified yet in statute. And we need some of those broad guidelines to make sure that we get those improvements that we're talking about here today. So, in summary, I would say let's not lose sight of the other issue here, which is the quality of life. Quality of life of your constituents. And it's not just about a business model, and it's not just about whether or not we can get state tax revenue. I want you to think about your friend or your relative who may have gone through a very difficult illness. And could they have benefited from access to what cannabis and certain strains of cannabis might have done for them, as opposed to maybe hospice coming in and giving them morphine and having them not be able to communicate with you on their way out of this world? I'd ask you to please consider that as you think about whether or not there's a need to expanding access to quality, safe medicine. We call them compassion centers. I'd appreciate it if we would remember that compassion is key to this legislation that Representative McKiernan has put before you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd be happy to answer questions.
Thank you, George. Any questions? Representative Vella Wilkinson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, George. Please remind me, are the compassion centers limited as to the number of strains of marijuana that they're allowed to put on their menu?
No.
Okay. Do you know what the average number of strains are that the three that are in business are offering by any chance?
I don't know, but I know that they're here and you can ask them that question. I do know, in speaking to some of the folks at the health department, that there is a shortage of certain varieties and not everybody can carry everything.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Oh, I would add also, last year we expanded cultivator licenses, which obviously increases the amount of grow with a very limited place to sell to, with only 3 outlets. So obviously you know that there's grow out there, and if it's not going to the 3 compassion centers, where's it going? So by increasing compassion centers, you're also increasing where those legal cultivators, and there will be potentially up to 20 of them by the time this is done, can sell their product.
Thank you. Any further questions for George?